Yo, what is going on, guys? C4RQ here with some Guilty Gear action. A little bit different this week. For people that do know, normally I do like open lobbies. This week, kind of mixed it up a bit. Obviously, with the announcement of Marvel, I'm a big Marvel head. I've done a little stream on that. And something I wanted to do pretty much for ages is breakdowns of matches. Both for my sake and for other people's sake, kind of help me when it comes to like commentating and getting across points in matches that people might not see, or to break them down to a level that people that don't follow Guilty Gear so much could sort of understand. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do today. It's kind of like a test one, just making sure the software works. The audio might be a little bit dodgy. I haven't got my proper commentating headset on. But yeah, I'm going to break down a couple of matches. Shouts to 9th Gen Media for letting me use footage from one of their tournaments, Revolution, that happened about a month or so ago. These are the pool matches. I wasn't there. Gutted. Got it for top 8, so I watched that. So I haven't seen any of the pool matches. I literally found the file or the matches today, kind of skimmed through them a little bit, but I haven't watched any sets. Right now, I've got Jackal versus Erisu. It's a Millia match. Think it's quite a good basis to start on. Obviously, it's a mirror match, so you're only concentrating on what one character can do. You don't have to worry about the options of other characters and matchups and stuff. It's just the same characters. Both players pretty much have the same goal. You're going to see a lot of similar, I want to call them antics. Sorry about that. Similar antics, yeah. So you're going to see the same Oki setup, the same neutral pretty much, very similar block strings. So yeah, let me hit play. Should start in a couple of, probably a minute or so. But yeah, Jackal, for people that don't know, he won versus Fighting this year, and he won Revolution last year. It's been Millia since day, from what I know. Erisu, I believe, came second last year Revolution. So these two that are playing now in pools were the grand final for last year's Revolution. Definitely check out their Twitch, watch the footage, really solid stuff. I should be able to have a whiteboard, so I should be able to like mark off positioning and stuff like that, which would be pretty cool. Let's have a look. But first, gotta wait for a moment to actually talk about. So he pulls it right there. Both players respecting Millia by both backdashing. It's I mean, it is pools as well. I think a lot of people play really cautious. First to two. No one wants to get blown up for taking silly risks at 99 seconds. But you do see quite a bit in Guilty Gear because you have a burst. And I've seen this match. You will see a very early burst. When it happens, I'll break down why the burst was understandable and why it was kind of a bad choice. Right.
2D as an anti-air from Jackal. Great instant block.
Right, so Jackal did basically the Millia thing, where it's run up, I'm going to go low, how long are you going to block low for? That's literally one of, rather than jumping in and using your pin, seeing what happens, Millia's run up to you and hit buttons. Normally it's 5k, which is like standing K. I mean, 2k, I don't think it is even slower. It might be like a couple of frames slower at worst. I don't think it is, to be fair. But yeah, that's the tactic of Millia. She just wants to put you in block stun, and she will start staggering buttons. It's a weird one. It's a weird one. I mean, Jackal obviously is aware of this. He got hit by it, but he also knows that the burst is inevitable. It's kind of like a double-edged sword on Jackal's part. He was probably thinking, it's so obvious that I'm going to burst here. He's not going to bait it. He might be playing that card. Why it's quite a bad decision to burst at this moment is because he's got no meter. So even if your burst doesn't work, you kind of think, okay, if I burst, Millia baits it, knocks me down. At least if I've got some meter, I might be able to dead angle or blitz the hair whip, which you'll see in a minute, tandem top. But he doesn't do this. 93 seconds, he has burst. And once Millia gets in the corner, you will see it's really bad. It's really, really peak. And if you haven't got a burst, that's literally your last line of defense. Going, look, okay, you've proven that I can't block your mix-ups. Right, this burst is going to give me some breathing room. So yeah, the burst was smart because Millia is going to take you to the corner and she's going to start shenanigans. But it was still really risky to do it that early. He's not going to... If Erasu plays the match perfectly, he's going to get maybe just over half of his burst back for the next round. He didn't have much pulse, which is basically on your meter. You have like a white bar that flashes through it. Once that's flashing, that means you gain tension quicker. I'll go over that in another video, but it's just another reason why bursting this early is pretty bad. So, yep, put in the corner. Blocks the lows, blocks all 3 lows. Right, you're going to see that a lot as well. I don't know if I can go back just to when it happened. Right, I think everything... There we go. So, one thing Millias do is jump P, like, immediately. So, what it basically does is this area here, once she gets to the air, basically this area, all of this area is a dead zone. Like, you can't do anything about it. Like, it is literally... I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's really, really hard to do something air to air against that move. Let me get it so she's actually that. So, as you saw, Jackal's trying to jump out because he doesn't want to block the high-low. He just doesn't want to guess any of that. But that P, even though it hits like that, is basically this. It's basically all of that area. You can mash it as well. It combos into itself. It's really, really annoying. And the only way to beat it is by firming it and staying grounded. Obviously, her air momentum will keep her going up. So you get a chance to run underneath her and get out of the corner. But what Millias would do is kind of play on that tendency to know that players want to get out of the mix-up. So they're going to try and jump away. This tool to stop people jumping away is pretty strong. It's risky. Don't get me wrong. It's very risky. Like I said, if you just sit there, if you're just sitting there and they jump up to try and air-to-air you and you've got the reactions, you can 6P them, run underneath, jump up air throw, noticing that they've jumped up. But if you're jumping at the same time, you're just going to have to block it. You're just going to have to block it. And if you don't, she basically goes back into her flowchart. She gets the PPP into basically knockdown. So you're going to see a lot of jump Ps. And it's basically the Millia playing fishing for someone kind of jumping up. And it's especially good in this matchup because Millia's like to do jump pin. And from the first match I saw, there wasn't many air pins going on. And it's probably because of this. Just because of jump P kind of stops people jumping around and hitting P. Having a character that can keep up with Millia, obviously Millia herself, it's a lot more risky to do jumping around and throwing pin. So let's keep going. You see, keeps her in the corner because we got it back down. Right, so overhead. Jackal blocks both overheads, then gets clipped low. I think Jackal was thinking too many steps ahead. When you see later on in this match, he does a lot of overheads. And I think he thinks that the Millia is going to go, right, eventually you're going to crouch block. The overhead's inevitable, so let me just keep going overhead. Eventually you won't block, and that's when we'll get some damage. But unlucky there for Jackal. And now it's literally going back into itself. So we've got hairpin. That time he goes low. Confirms into a combo. Back here again. Same thing. So with this, you can... I think it's character dependent, but some characters can crouch underneath this kind of zone of the tandem top, of the hair whip. You can blitz it. In this game, obviously, characters have different wake-up timings, so it's harder to kind of get meaties consistently unless you know the character and you know what you need to do timing wise to get that. It's basically, this is here to make you have to block high-low. That's basically what it is. It forces you to block the high-low and stops you from jumping away. Sometimes you will see people like hold up back FD and then they'll block this in the air, then they end up going straight back to the ground, because blocking obviously stops your air momentum, so you get put back onto the ground. So yeah, unfortunately, even Millia players find it hard to deal with Millia's stupidness. So it goes low, doesn't get the conversion, unfortunately. So there we go. You've got the box dash. That's obviously what you're looking for against Millia. You're looking for her not to be jumping and not to have her hair on screen. That's when you can get out. She has got really good anti-airs. Like, even 5P is really good as anti-air, 2H. But Jackal found a blind spot, got through it. Air-to-air clash, PK. So Erisu did go for the pin. Looking at Jackal's health is like, well, I don't need to convert off its pin. I just needed to hit. Pretty smart. It did miss, unfortunately. We'll see it again. But what he did is he didn't move forward. Normally, Millias would move forwards and then do the pin. He thinks, okay, I just need to get a hit. So he jumps, P's, falls down, and that's where the clash happens. Like I said, Air P, godlike, but Air K is, if not as good, just depends on the situation. When it's coming to this situation, that was probably the best button to hit, to be fair. I think Erisu's Millia, his P would have been too high above Jackal's, and Jackal's probably would have hit his. So 5K on landing, 2S whiffs, jumps up, hits a button. He notices that Jackal's not jumped, so he thought, oh, okay then, cool, Jackal's on the ground. This is when pin's a thing. Pin is really good against characters that are on the ground, obviously, because of the trajectory of it. So he double jumps. As he's coming down, he throws the pin, but that's when Jackal jumps. So the pin was neutralized by the neutral jump, and because Jackal didn't move, he's just literally stalemated it. Good recognition there by Erisu. He goes, okay, my pin's not hit. To be fair, even if he did block the pin, that what Erisu is doing now with running forward and doing 2K, he probably would have done that. He probably would have done that anyway, because can hit, you basically get a confirm of it. You can mash out because it causes the stagger state, which means you can mash out of it, but he probably would have got the confirm. Goes for the block string, goes for the roll through, probably tried to throw, got can hit instead. And there we go. And then we had Jackal use his pin, and this time it worked. It got him in. He got him in the middle of the screen. So the strength of pin is just ridiculous. Like, it doesn't need to hit. It doesn't need to hit. And that pin even hit him airborne, and it still caused the same effect. And again there, sorry guys, I'm going 100 miles an hour. The jump P. The jump P is such a strong tool by Millia. It's ridiculous. And obviously both this round you've only seen kind of Erisu do it, but Jackal does do it as well. Most Millias do it. And it kind of showed its worth, as in, look, you can't jump at me. You just can't jump at me. I haven't got like a grounded reversal outside of overdrives, which is supers, but I've got jump P, and you ain't beating this. Unless you know I'm going to be there, and you deal with the P, like, I'm going to win. Like, to beat what Erisu did there, you would have had to run forward. Or jumped up immediately and started to FD. That's probably the only other way you could have beat it. So, there you go. You saw Erisu go for it, and he hit all the way on his arc. So, he hit on the way up, and then he hit on the way down. Just because of the hitbox in it. It's like, why not? Why not do that? But Erisu didn't do anything. He stood there. If he was running forward, I mean, it's a bit risky to run forward at 99 seconds, but if he would have been laughing. He went for an overhead at 99 seconds. I personally don't know why, and we will see it again, and it works. So I'm going to say it's some tech that I don't know about. Misses the conversion there, unlucky Jackal. The air dash, okay, so we got the overhead. Right, so with that attack, people may not know, hopefully I don't go too far back. There's a hair whip, obviously, because most of her moves are to do with hair. But there's a 2-hitting move, which can cancel after the first attack. The second hit of the move, when you let it rock, is an overhead. I'll be able to show you in a sec. Sweep, can hit sweep to stop his approach. That conversion was nearly awesome. So, he forces him to block on the ground with the IAD, instant air dash. There's the overhead. Too far for a confirm, and he hasn't got any meter. Maybe 10 on top would have hit there, to be fair. Top may have hit, but he didn't do it. continues to go for Ezra. So after this attack, the next whip of the hair is an overhead. So most people just go to stand block. When they block that, they just stand block. It's not uncommon. And then you kind of react to the car, which is like a bobsled. I just called it a bobsled, but basically it's just like a sliding attack where she rides her hair, which hits low. So what you tend to do is try and react to that, because that's a lot slower than most of our overheads. Like TK Bad Moon, which you'll see as well, is pretty quick. So once you block that, you go, okay, I'm just going to stand block. I'm going to stay stand blocking, and then I'm going to see if I need to block low. What Jackal does is he cancels it into an air dash. So for literally like a split second, you see Erisu block low, and then he goes back to standing. Literally for a second.
Oh, here we go.
Is this the match? Yeah, this is the match. You might not see it. It looks like a super mini teabag. I'll see if I can stop it on the frame. That would be sick if I could. What? There we go. He crouches, then he stands back up. Just in the nick of time. To be fair, he probably thought he was going to do car. Thing with car is, without meter, he wouldn't have comboed off of it. So it was a bit risky to block low, just in case of car, when an overhead would lead into a combo. But he blocked it anyway. But then he got a dust. So he needed to stay standing. In obviously Guilty Gear, every character has a dust. Dusts are always overhead. No matter what the animation looks like, it's always overhead. Millia's is really annoying because she rolls back and then she does her dust. So it's pseudo safe because she's obviously getting out of the way of buttons. So sometimes you'll be mashing, thinking, oh, she's going to go for a mix-up. If her mix-up is dust, she might roll away from your jab and then just kind of hit dust you. Really annoying. Super, super annoying.
Oh, gets hit by dust. That's going to hurt. Some ends here.
Nice Wolf's dust combo. And now it's leading back into the same thing that Erisu was doing in the last match. Here you can see the startup of the car. So Millia goes into the car. That's a low. And you can see that the top has not hit Millia yet, Erisu, because she's so low. Then that's where it hits you. That's the power of that attack. It basically forces you to block two mix-ups. You block one, then it's okay. Now I've got to stay here because the projectile's here. Then I have to block another one. So the first mix-up is basically I can do something that's -4 million. It doesn't matter because this projectile is going to keep me safe. So running low, 2 lows, and then the third low, 2S. Goes really far. 2D. Too far for the tandem top there. Normally, I mean, as you saw, the projectile was about here. What you normally need to do is I'll run it back a little bit. What's it? Run it back there. What you need to do is micro dash. So you need to basically buffer your special attack with a forward dash. So there, he was meant to have dashed forward a tiny bit and then done the move. So the momentum would stay on Millia. So she would basically be moving forward while she's summoning the top. Didn't get that, unfortunately. And basically, he kind of gives up the opportunity of a safe mix-up, which means, like Erisu did, he jumps away. He's like, oh, the top's not here. I don't have to block it. Sick, I'm out. So that's what he does. He jumps back. FD's probably thinking, Jackal would think, oh, okay, this hand top isn't like forcing him to block. I might as well jump and do P.
Oh, doesn't get the dash forward. I don't know why there's no Roman cancel from Jackal there. He had the meter.
Roll, throw. Oh, goes for the combo. It's pretty hard. And there you go. Mashed into P out of the tech. Got the hits. Couldn't get the conversion, unluckily. And then we saw it again. The air Ps. You're going to see a lot of it. So what that mix-up is, what Erisu did, is Erisu, isn't it? Yeah, it's Erisu. Is he did the car, the low, but what he did is he YRC'd it. Basically, quick overview on YRC. It's basically an FADC for Street Fighter 4 heads, where you've not put them with lock stun. So you can do that. That costs 25 meters. So at the start, whenever the opponent isn't in block stun or in hit stun, and it's the start up or the middle of your move, you can YRC it. And it's not just the Erisu thing. A lot of Millias do it. They use the mix up of, oh, I'm going to do hair car, make you think I'm going low, YRC it, and because she YRCs in the air, she gets a falling attack. So she basically makes her low attack into an overhead.
Oh, doesn't get the dash forward. I don't know why there's no Roman cancel from Jackal there. He had the meter for it.
pause it 1 sec when it comes up.
Super advanced. Oh, we nearly had a repeat of last year when they did the Rising JP clash.
There you go. So, as you can see, she's wild seed and she's airborne. And even though she's like literally 2 centimeters from the ground, she can get an air attack. Don't ask me why, but she can. That's the air attack, and it's blocked. It's a really good block. Even though YRC slows down time, it's really hard to see, especially when you're in match.
Oh, good block on their YRC overhead.
Again, Erisu went for the jump P, and what I was saying earlier about how to beat it, that's exactly what Jackal did. He stood his ground, stayed on the ground, moved forward, and did P.
Oh, we nearly had a repeat of last year when they did the Rising JP clash. Oh, good block on their YRC.
Yeah, so after the tandem top, I believe it is, Erisu is thinking, okay, I need to cover this space. All up here. I need to cover this space. And that's what Jump P does. Just covers basically anything that's not standing or crouching. Like any air mobility, anything air-wise that's not reversal, it's going to cover. And Jackal YRCs. I want to say he YRC'd because he thought that that move might hit. So with Millia, you'll see a lot of people, well, a lot of Millias do a button and then basically RC. If it doesn't hit, you'll get a YRC. If it does hit, on hit or block, you'll get you'll get a YRC. If it doesn't hit, you get a red RC, which costs 50 tension if it's hit or is blocked. And if it's hit, obviously you get a confirm. If it is blocked, at least you get basically free pressure because of the slowdown on your opponent. But yeah, so we're going to see Erisu take to the skies. Jackal YRCs. Let's clear the screen quickly. And going from there. Yeah, run underneath 5P. 5P is really good. Now that burst was, I'm going to say, desperate. At the very least. The thing about bursts is they're not very quick compared to other anime games. And a lot of Millia's stuff, because of the momentum on her, you basically don't burst in the air against Millia. That's pretty much the golden rule. There's a lot of things that have like a rule where you just, with Faust, there's a move where you just don't burst on it. It's like a triple kick looking move. I think it's just 2K. You just don't burst it because they can always just block and cancel it. Millia, it's basically you just don't burst against Millia when she's comboing you in the air. This is why, because the momentum when she's starting to fall will basically just make your burst whiff. So you could say that Jackal didn't bait this burst. He was just doing a burst safe combo. I'm not too sure if it is burst safe. It looked pretty burst safe. I don't know if it was intentional, but you just can't burst like that against this character. Like I said, because of the momentum. So, yeah. So the move whiffed, stopping him to jump cancel it or get the air dash afterwards, and he fell underneath. That's probably why you saw the air K and then he couldn't really get a conversion. If he was looking for it, he probably would have landed and then done 2H and went for an air confirm. And then jumps up and get the air throw. 1 frame throws. So it's 1-1. Just instantly just going, oh, 2D wasn't the right thing. That's basically the sweep. 2D was not the right thing to do here. Let me go into an air series. Oh, went forward. My bad. So I'll actually pause at the 99-second mark. So yeah, this right here, Millia can either handle this space with the 2D, which Jackal goes for. Here with 5H or 2 or 5S, one of those two. It's a good range. There's not many things that can go underneath it. Obviously Millia probably can, for no doubt. Or they take off in either direction. Maybe if they're being passive, they'll jump back and then throw a pin. Same with neutral jump. Maybe they'll just neutral jump, maybe throw a pin, maybe just neutral jump to see where they're going, or they'll jump forward and P. That's basically, for the most part, what Millia trying to win the match is going to do. Erisu didn't do either of those. He backdashed, which he done the first match, which I respect. He backdashed, saw that Jackal hit a button and thought, oh, I'm in here. I'm going to IAD, get in that, but no. Jump P. Jumpy the God. And I think he gets a conversion off of this. Let's see.
Yeah,
Yeah, here we go. So he's basically in the corner. Again, he didn't get the micro dash, but Erisu's basically in the corner because he got air to air with P. A move that is just rapid and counterable into itself. So easy to confirm off.
I could not be happier.
Tries to jump out like he did last time. Got can hit. Maybe he was going for a throw and he got can hit trying to throw Jackal at IAD. Gets a tech out though, so it's not too bad. Bobsled. Another one. Lots of lows here, and Erisu FD in to try and push him away. Basically at this range where Millia is now, that's the best range to fight her at, because all the normal she does, or any normal that she does do, probably won't combo into anything unless it's super, or she's got Chrome and Rose on. This range is what you want. You force her to take. It doesn't seem risky at the time because it's so quick, but you force her to take a risk. She either has the IAD or run at you. Now, Millias obviously do it a lot, so you think, oh, it's pretty just okay to run at people. It's not okay. It's really risky just to run forward at someone, no matter how fast you are. It's really risky. So that's the range you're at now. Let's see what they do. Jackal takes the air. Does he do a P? He does do a P. And Jackal firms it, stays on the ground, rolls out, and then meets him with his own attack. He goes, oh no, now you're in the corner. I'm just going to jump around and hit P and force you to stay here. You better stay on the ground. Luckily, Jackal gets the insta-block, tries to jump away, gets overhead, even though he looks standing. Blocks the overhead, doesn't block the second overhead. Now, TK bad mood it's reactable when you're looking for it. Raw reactions, it's very hard to block. For the most part, the first one you kind of go, okay, high low. Is it going to be Car or is it going to be Moon? Even though Moon, yeah, she has to jump up, then do it. But you normally just kind of block it. So yeah, the 5k is an overhead, doesn't get that. And this is one more last guess for Erisu. That was dirty. So what that was, it's not even that dirty to be fair, but you don't see it often, especially with Millia. Obviously, a lot of players react to dust by the red flash. Let me see if I can actually pause on the red flash. That would be nice. So yeah, if you, oh, I missed it. Right, next time, I'll get it this time. Wow, that was literally a frame. So I'll try one more time to get it, but it's you definitely see it, but I don't know if I can just pause on the frame. I don't know if it's gonna happen. But yeah, a lot of people react to dust by the red flash, just because the animation of the moves don't look like overheads for most characters. There we go. That's what players are looking for. When you see that, it's like the next attack is going to be overhead. That's all you're thinking. That's what all players should be thinking. It doesn't really happen in the UK because we're free to dusts. But that's what you need to be reacting to. You see that and go, I have to block low. But as you can see, he YRC'd it. Erisu wasn't in block stun. And then he goes low. Absolutely rude. And yeah, Millia perfect. You'll see that a lot if you watch much of Google Gear. Especially against Millia's Zetos. Most of the cast easily can get perfect. Maybe not Axel. Axel has to kind of work for it. But anyway, guys, hopefully you just lot enjoyed this. Like I said, this is for all types, all levels of play. Sorry. I might do another one later tonight, and I'll post it up as well. For now, I'll see how people kind of receive this one. And I might record one later and then upload it at another point. Thanks again to 9th Gen for letting me use their footage. Go check them out on Twitch. Watch all the top 8 as well. Top 8 was really sick. And I'll catch you guys later. Peace.